Browns hosting the Steelers on Sunday, their final home game of the 2025 season. Lots of drama involved in this one, of course. Let's start here on the injury front, Mary Kay. A very significant development for the Browns. Harold Fannin Jr. popped up on the injury report today with a groin injury. He is questionable for Sunday. Now, he said in the locker room it was just precautionary. He plans to play, but of course this is important because, as you've talked about so many times, Shedeur Sanders is so reliant on Harold Fannin. So if he's not out there for some reason, that's a huge weapon to take off the field for Shedeur.
It really would be. He leads the team with 70 catches, over 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he is 100% Shedeur Sanders' go-to guy. He just loves throwing him the ball, and he even scored a rushing touchdown last week. So he is the man, and they would be really, really hurting without him. He's got 48 hours to recover from this groin injury that he said he tweaked in practice on Friday. It's funny because we were out there watching practice, and Harold Fannin caught like 2 or 3 nice passes right in front of us as we were standing there, touchdown passes in the early going, and he just looked really good with Shedeur Sanders, and now he might not be able to be out there, but he does say he'll play.
Yeah, and Ashley, of course, too, even if he does play, we have to keep an eye on, does the injury hold him back a little? Does it slow him down? Does it limit his snap counts for some reason? There's just a lot that goes into this, obviously, just beyond whether he plays or not.
Yeah, there are. And look, I think the Browns already obviously have an issue amongst their pass catching core as a whole, but also just in that tight end room. They don't have David Njoku. Again, he was ruled as out. So obviously Harold Fannin's been having such a nice season. I think the Browns have gotten lucky in that regard. He really has proven to be the queen on the chessboard, which is the phrase Andrew Berry used when they drafted him back in April. But I'm really curious to see if it's going to impact him at all from when everyone talked to him in the locker room. Seemed like he was fairly optimistic, so I guess that's a good first start.
Now, he's not the only rookie that's dealing with an injury that happened in practice today, and that's Dillon Gabriel, the backup quarterback, of course, the rookie who was starting before he suffered a concussion. He suffered a left shoulder injury, or it acted up during practice, and so now he is questionable, Mary Kay, and that means that Bailey Zappe likely to be elevated on Saturday and could be the backup quarterback on Sunday.
That's right. They'll have to see, again, how does this go over the next 48 hours? Can Dillon Gabriel be the backup, or do they have to go to Bailey Zappe? And it might be a tough call because Dillon has not only started games, but he's come back in there a couple of other times, and he is taking more reps than Bailey Zappe is, and he would be more ready to go. So we'll see how that goes. But it was a rough day at practice today for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing out there. I don't know if they were practicing in the rain, and I don't know. I don't know what was happening, Ashley. But we've covered enough of the Browns to know that if there's a chance for a Bailey Zappe sighting or anything else, you never say never.
You never say never. And look, I think the Browns also have showed over and over again they're cautious now with quarterbacks and shoulder injuries. We've talked about that a lot. I think a lot of it goes back to Deshaun Watson's initial shoulder injury a couple of years ago. But I think they're very cautious, and especially when it's a rookie backup, I think that could certainly be the case. And to Mary Kay's point, look, Dillon Gabriel got in for a snap as recently as last week, we know. So I think it's always going to be kind of significant news when there's a possible change at backup quarterback.
Think about how juicy the storylines would be going into this game had they chosen to activate Deshaun Watson earlier this week. Of course, they did not. Now, there is some good injury news. Denzel Ward, he does not carry a game status. So as he promised earlier this week, Mary Kay, he will be back on the field.
Yes, he will be back, and again, no injury status whatsoever, and that will be helpful against Aaron Rodgers if he starts, or Mason Rudolph if Mason gets this start. They do have the tight ends that they're going to throw to. They don't have DK Metcalf, which you would really probably want to see Denzel Ward on DK Metcalf, at least part of the football game. But they won't have him. But Denzel will be back helping in every way, including against the run. I mean, you need them when they get to that level to be able to take these guys down. So it will be helpful to have him back, especially because we watch Myles Harden walk off the practice field today with an aggravation of his shoulder injury.
Yeah, they're really trying to hold that secondary together right now. And to Mary Kay's point, Ashley, when you talk about the run game, we know that Denzel is a physical player in the run. We know Tyson Campbell is a physical player in the run. These corners are expected to help out.
Yeah, they are expected. They love that part of the game. They're always the ones who also talk about rush and coverage working together. And it adds an interesting wrinkle, I think, and some help for Myles Garrett, as we know he continues to try to make history here. To have Denzel Ward back, Denzel Ward has talked about wanting to be on the field with him for that moment. So another motivation for Denzel to get out there.
Okay. Let's make picks for Sunday. Browns versus Steelers, 1 o'clock Sunday, Huntington Bank Field, the final home game of the 2025 season. Ashley, give us a storyline and a pick.
Well, my storyline is this game going to mean anything for anyone? Because there is a chance the Pittsburgh Steelers could clinch by Saturday night, about 12-ish hours before they have to take the field against the Browns, if the Baltimore Ravens lose or tie against the Green Bay Packers. Now, that game, who knows what's going to happen, because we know Jordan Love is not going to play. It looks like it's going to be Malik Willis. They're back up in Green Bay. There's also a chance Tyler Huntley could play for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson doubtful, dealing with a back injury. So a lot at play here. If the Steelers clinch, would Mike Tomlin rest his starters? He got asked about that earlier in the week. Didn't give a definitive yes or no. So much up in the air with this game, which makes me think it's going to be a weird game. And I think there's typically at least one weird division game the Browns get each year. They win it when no one is expecting them to. I would say last year's Steelers game was like that. So I'm actually going to take the Browns in this game, knowing the personnel that already are for sure out in Pittsburgh, and I'm going to go Cleveland 21-15.
Okay, I'm going to take the Browns too here in Shedeur Sanders' sixth start. And of course, we've talked about it so much on podcasts and on these videos that this continues to be Shedeur Sanders' audition for the 2026 season. And a win over Pittsburgh would certainly help make that case, even if it is against backups. So I'm going to take the Browns. And to your point, Ashley, the Steelers don't win in Cleveland for some reason. Like the last few years, they just haven't won in Cleveland. So maybe this just is going to be that weird division game. They aren't backs against the wall, have to win. Even if the Ravens win on Saturday night, they still basically play a win and in against the Ravens in Week 18. So I think the Browns win a really weird, ugly game on the backs of their defense. The Steelers are really short at receiver, as we mentioned. I'm going to take the Browns 16-9. Mary Kay.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult for us to be picking this game when we really don't know if the starters or the backups are going to be playing. We don't know if it's going to be Mason Rudolph or Aaron Rodgers. We don't know if Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith and Nick Herbig are going to be starting this football game. So it is a little bit tricky. We already know that DK Metcalf is out. We already know that TJ Watt is out. So that's basically your best offensive weapon and your best defensive weapon are already out of this game. So it, in my mind, is setting up for a Browns victory. It's setting up for Shedeur Sanders' second career victory, and we'll have to see, how that all goes. But my storyline, of course, is we can't forget Myles Garrett needs one more sack to get the record, and he seems really positive that he's getting it on Sunday. Now, he felt that way last Sunday too, but if he goes against Aaron Rodgers, it will be more difficult, I think, than if he goes against Mason Rudolph, because Aaron Rodgers, in the first meeting between these two teams, he did not sack Aaron. He did not get sacked at all. And, of course, Myles, I don't even know if he really necessarily had to tackle that game. So Aaron will make it very, very difficult on him, but I still think he's going to get it. He is determined. He is going out there. He's going to get this record. I think it's going to happen in a win, which is what he also wants, and it's going to be a good day for Shedeur and everybody on the lakefront. And I'm picking the Browns to win 20-17.
And we'll let you guys do the math here on Myles Garrett sacking Mason Rudolph for the record. Or you can go read cleveland.com/Browns as well if you can't do the math on your own. That's where we have full coverage of everything Myles Garrett had to say today. And, of course, that game on Sunday. Again, that's cleveland.com/Browns.